Hello, everyone. Welcome to another PM stream here at Sin City Crypto. My name is David. I'll be your host for today. New set, who this? It's still me, as you can see. If you've been following our channel, you know we've been doing a massive expansion in the back. We've been sharing a couple of pictures and videos on our Sin City podcast handle. And well, here is set number 4. Is a trading, gaming, live stream, solo person setup. And so this is what it's meant for. And so today, I am the guinea pig, and we're going to test out this set. So I hope you guys like it. No music today, but we have everything else to go. So I'm excited to be here with you guys today. I hope you guys are excited as well. Earlier today, we saw a Bitcoin rally, but I feel like a lot of people, myself included, we see these rallies and we hit 88K, 91K. And at least over the past 3-4 months, we've seen BTC have these rallies. Let me swap over to my laptop. We've seen BTC have these rallies and just give it all back either within hours or within days. But I really feel like this time is different. You can feel the sentiment change. The winds are shifting. And so that is part that we're going to talk about today. We're also going to take a look at some trade setups. And also, something I noticed, take a look here. This is Bitcoin funding rates, okay? And you can see here, Bitcoin rarely goes negative funding rates. And if it does, it's very minute. Well, guess what? The funding rate, the negative funding rate on BTC, we haven't seen this level of a negative funding rate going back to March of 2023. And so that's kind of what I want to open with. And so my initial reaction is, well, okay, what was the last time? What did price do the last time BTC, the funding rate dropped this low? And well, let's take a peek. We mentioned, this thing loads up again. Don't quit on me now, funding rate. Of course, as soon as you try to show something, it goes away. What the fuck? Let me try to reload the screen here. If it doesn't work, then we'll move on to a chart. All right, let's get rid of you. Let's get rid of you. Let's keep you. We'll keep you, and we'll get rid of you. Okay, perfect. So here we go. So this is what I was trying to show you guys right here. Funding rate, you can see that big dip. Last time funding rates was this low was March, again, was August of 2023. Okay. 1 second, guys. All right, give me 1 second. I'm just making some changes here to the screen capture. Anyways, how are you guys feeling about this move? Are you guys sold on the Bitcoin move? We're at 91.1 currently. And again, there's a lot of concern that this wasn't a move. But anyways, all right, we're back. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so funding rates being this low, we have to go all the way back to March of 2023. What did Bitcoin do price-wise? Let's take a peek. Bitcoin's price in March of 2023, we saw a massive rally. Okay, so this is the bottom. It was around 19.5, and that initial pump was a 50% pump on BTC from when the funding rates got that low. The next time was back here on November of 2022. That was the Pico bottom. That was the Pico bottom of what we saw when FTX crashed and Sam Bankman-Fried. And so we kind of chopped sideways, but ultimately we pumped 53%, and that took a little over 2.5 months. And so that is where we currently are right now. Is funding rates have dipped to levels, again, we haven't seen since March of 2023. Well, what will Bitcoin do? Will this thing push upwards? It looks like it already is, and that rally will sustain. Again, this is on BTC. Now, speaking of BTC on the chart, this is the weekly. Key level we had mapped out here was that 88,455 level. We blew right through that, as you can see, on the weekly time frame. The next one, the big one here, my friends, we're there, and you can see we tapped it. We tapped it on a wick. And that is 91,277. Why is that important? We can go back, stay on the weekly. We can go back. This was back on the week of November 25th. We saw a wick we closed lower than we opened. Here, we almost got there on a wick, and then we came back up and closed higher. And then these two times, this is the last week of December leading into January, first week of January. And then as you can see here, the kind of trend. And so we need to close above this 91,277 level on the weekly time frame for BTC. For me to really say, look, the structure of this chart has changed. Now we could see some follow through. We know yesterday was a massive day as far as flows going into BTC from Wall Street as far as the ETFs. Will that trend continue today? We'll have the complete numbers by tomorrow morning's live show. And so if you want to see those numbers, make sure to join us tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. But yeah, so on the higher time frames, so I always like to start off throwing on the Ichimoku cloud. Now we did have a bullish crossover here from our 9-day moving average to our 26-day moving average, our baseline, our conversion line bridging over our baseline. That is very positive. And also we've been in this green cloud for quite a while, so nothing has changed there. But as long as on the higher time frames, we are trading above our cloud and our 9-day is trading above our 26-day, that is what we want to see as far as structure. If we go into the daily, you can see Bitcoin had a clean breakout of this cloud. Now, I remember this is maybe a week ago, we were waiting for this crossover to happen and it looked like it wasn't going to. Then we had that massive push up on increasing volume for BTC. And again, 91,277. I'm curious what price will do here, but we do have some support sitting right at, we have some confluence actually with our 88.4 level, our support level. Well, previous resistance now turned support level. But that also coincides with the top end of our cloud. And we did get a green twist on the cloud. These are all bullish indicators when we talk about structure, when we talk about trend. And so on the weekly, BTC is in an uptrend. On the daily now, we can stay above the cloud. BTC is officially back in an uptrend. So shout out to everyone. And then we kind of talked about this pattern here, which we saw across the board, not just in BTC, but in altcoins as well, was this IHS, this inverse head and shoulders pattern that broke. Will we get a retest of the neckline potentially, or could we just blow right through that 92.7, depending on where we get this retest? Looking at anywhere between 87.251 and 86.869. And so if we do get a retest, I expect a bounce. And if you're looking for a long entry on BTC, I wouldn't do it now. We might actually be in for a nice swing short trade or a scalp trade on a short. But for a long, I want to wait to see what BTC does at 88.4. And if this thing pans out and we see Bitcoin slowly grind down on a retest, this is looking forward to around May 8th / May 9th. We have confluence of our 88.4 and our neckline as well. So just a couple things to keep in mind. Again, depending on when Bitcoin sees a drawdown and how big that drawdown is. If you're new here, welcome. If you enjoyed trading, make sure you join our Discord and get VVIP trading access. It doesn't cost you a thing. And I'm just going to take a peek at the chat, say hello to everyone. Shout out to all the mods. Thank you all very much. ES Crypto Princess, what's going on? Chipper, what's up, Chipper? How you doing, brother? Miguel said, day one, take two, asking the wrench. Yeah, we're clamping down on who we give the wrench to. We're not trying to have a chat full of mods. That's definitely not what we're looking for. But we appreciate all the mods in here that kind of keep the chat going. Once again, download, stake, and get money for free. Yeah, you know, ES, get $1 a day for free just by logging in. So that's like half a tank of gas if you drive a pickup truck. Laser Go Pew Pew, haven't seen you here. Well, welcome, my friend. Also, Cyborg Girl, what's going on? And Stealth 2007, welcome to you as well. Okay, let's take a peek at the altcoins. How the altcoins are doing?
Hola! Yeah.
Can't get away from this guy, you know? All right. Let's take a peek at some of the altcoins. So the biggest gainers of the day, we have Bonk up 18%. Now, for me, if you guys have been watching at least the morning show, you know, we talk about meme coins, and I've been pretty bearish on meme coins for really since Donald Trump launched his meme coin. We've seen the numbers on Solana absolutely tank. I think they're losing daily active users over the last 2 weeks. That trend is going down, which obviously is not good. I'm not stoking fear here, saying Solana is going under, is going anywhere, but something to keep an eye on. But meme coins specifically, I think it's now the risk versus the reward heavily favors risk. So to me, as far as new meme coins, so I'm not touching any new meme coins. I don't care if this thing could 100x, 1000x. You're going to have to sift through and lose money on, realistically, tons of meme coin launches to get to one that's going to give you the 100 or 1000x. But they're all solid meme coin plays that have been around for a while that we know aren't going to rug pull. And Bonk, to me, is one of them. Very similar to SHIB. And I can actually talk through this on a chart. Let's pull up a Bonk chart, see what that looks like. I haven't looked at a Bonk chart in God knows how long. So this is the Bonk chart on the daily. Nice little double bottom here with a tightening range. Also, again, inverse head and shoulder breakout to the upside. Let's throw on our cloud. Take a peek where trend is. So, okay, so Bonk currently is at an inflection point. These are daily candles. We haven't had a close, okay? So they're still around 2 hours and 47 minutes counting down to when this candle closes. Now, we did have a couple of bullish things happen. One, obviously, the break above the cloud is always good. But you can see here, if I zoom in, we got a twist back to green, which is very good. Increasing volume, very good on the move. And then the other thing we want to see here is this flip. We want to see our red line, which is our baseline. Excuse me. No, actually, I stand corrected. This is what we want to see. Conversion line, which is your blue line, 9-day moving average, trading above your 26-day, which is your baseline, which is what we're seeing, which is great. Again, we want to see a close above. If we get a close above on the cloud and we want to retest, we enter on the retest, and this level is pretty flat. And so we're looking at price target wise, not now, at least for me, on a retracement. This is where you want to enter into a long if you're looking for a long on Bonk. A bunch of zeros, 1433. But again, we want to see a push up. We want to see a close above the cloud and then a retest. Take a look at how volume does. Take a peek at what market cipher B is telling us. And actually, market cipher B is looking fairly well. See an expansion of the momentum waves to the upside. RSI, stochastics all pointing up. Expansion of the VWAP as well. And it looks like we're about to get, or we're getting, this really nice rounded bottom on our money flow, and we should see this thing cross to the upside and turn green. That is what we want to see. No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that either. Did somebody mess with my keys? Anyways, that's something we want to see on market cipher B as far as money flow turning from red to green, but everything else is looking great for Bonk. Again, trade setup now. Wait for a close above. If we get a close above, that's a confirmation of a trend change to me when using the Ichimoku cloud. And then for a long trade setup, we want to wait for a bounce back to that 1433 level. If that holds, we should get a push to the upside. Now we zoom into the lower time frames. You can look at the half day. We already got that close and crossover on the half day. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, right? This is an example of the trade setup on the daily that I've referred to. Let's get rid of this on the hours, keep it on the day. So here's a perfect example of a long trade using the Ichimoku cloud. You have a breakout above the cloud, great. You have your conversion line trading over your baseline, great. The cloud had twisted green, that is also great. Volume is increasing, great. But you see how we broke above when we got that retest? That is where you want to enter, and we hit perfectly on our 9-day moving average right here. Just a perfect on a wick. And if you took that trade on the drawdown, let's see where you'd be sitting at on a trade. That's a 22% scalp, my friends, in what, 2.5 days? And that is what we're waiting to see on the daily. We want to practice patience. We want to get the same setup on the daily that we saw on the 12-hour, and it should be a really nice trade setup. Or this thing could come in, close in the cloud, and then we wait, right? Because when we're trading in the cloud, this is no man's land. It's our equilibrium zone. We don't put in any trades in the cloud, wait for a break above or a breakdown. It looks like Bonk is currently pushing up as well. I want to super zoom into the 5 minute. Let's take a look at what market cipher B. We did get a red dot on market cipher B here, and looks like we did get a, oh no, it's back. We are teetering on the 0 line on our VWAP on the 5 minute. So we want that thing to to curve inward and push back to the upside to continue this bullish momentum on the super low time frame. We can even zoom into the 15-minute. You can see our VWAP is currently trading below our midline. We do want to see that thing cross to the upside. I'm just going to cycle through the lower time frame, seeing if we're seeing any entry triggers here on Market Cipher B. Nothing there, nothing there. We can even hyper zoom into the 3-minute. 3-minute green dot. Okay, let's look at the 1 minute. Bullish expansion on the 1 minute. So would have been a really nice trigger wave entry setup here. And then on the 1 hour, nothing really on 1 hour. 4 hour, increasing momentum waves to the upside, which is always good. And then the last thing I'll check is the 6 hour on this. So look at that expanding money flow. Just a beautiful, just up and to the right expansion of the money flow to the upside. We want to see this VWAP inwardly curve and continue its rise up. Although I mean, the VWAP is at the highest level it's been since the 9th of April. So Wednesday, the 9th of April. And we saw a massive rally out of bonk. And so just looking back, and I'll get rid of the cloud. So this is where we're looking right here, the 9th. So we saw that initial massive rally of around 15%. We saw, looks like a 50% drawdown from that move, which came into a beautiful, I mean, this is pretty much a picture perfect bull flag pattern here that broke to the upside. But following that VWAP expansion to the upside, right, which we saw that big spike, which is what we're seeing now. After the breakout, we saw bonk rally another 33%. And so again, this is not a trade I'm looking for now. I want to wait to see what the daily does on the cloud for bonk. But from a fundamental standpoint, bonk reminds me very much of SHIB as far as, hey, this thing started off as a joke, and it doesn't really do anything. And then they kind of started expanding other tokens, growing the community, doing everything else. I think bonk's doing something similar. So if you are, in my opinion, not financial advice, but if you are going to hold meme coins, I would look at memes that have been around for at least a year plus, maybe even 2 years. Doge, SHIB, bonk, Pepe, a few of the other ones. But yeah, I mean, bonk leading the rally. Let's take a look at the other gainers in the top 24. IMX, Stacks continuing to see its rally up 40% on the 7-day. But the winner of the 7-day is a freaking project that I have been pounding on this stream for like the last 2 months, which is BitTensor. And those of you that are part of our Patreon, you know where BitTensor ranks in my portfolio, as I've shown you that. But looking at BitTensor, this is the daily. Let's start off. Let's get rid of that. Let's start here. Let's actually go to the weekly on BitTensor. See what the weekly looks like. So I believe if I'm not wrong, we had I believe I was looking at this. Yeah, we had bullish divergence on the weekly. Right? So lower lows on price, higher lows on RSI. So that was good. Let's hide that. Let's go back here. Let's throw on our cloud. Also, guys, make sure to like the video. Not enough info on the weekly, but the daily. Okay, daily. And by the way, if you're a new trader or a beginner to charts, this is, in my opinion, once you understand the five things that go into the Ichimoku cloud, this is the easiest way to identify trends and support and resistance levels. You throw on the indicator, you're like, okay, we're currently still in a downtrend, right? We're trading in the cloud. We did get a twist, which is good. Our conversion line is trading above our baseline, which is also very good. But we failed to reclaim the cloud. And so now, as far as the daily time frame, we're in wait and see mode. Are we going to get rejected and come back down or retest this 9-day moving average, which currently sits, at 287.90? You can see here, when we came down, we got a perfect bounce off of our 9-day moving average, and we had that push up with increasing volume. So now that we got rejected off of our cloud, what is price going to do on BitTensor now? And again, we still have around 2.5 hours left for this candle close, so we can very well push and pierce this cloud and close above it. That would take a USD price of $353.80 for a BitTensor. If we close above that, again, same trade setup on a long. Let me get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. We'll keep that one. Same exact setup as we took a look on what was it? Bonk. Is a break above. We want to close above this 353 level, right? See a retracement. See what price does at the top end of this cloud, which currently again sits at 355. And then we enter into a long to the upside and we look for some resistance levels above these prices, which at first glance, the level I'd be eyeing for an SR on BitTensor on the daily. And get rid of that. That would be my first level, $418. Why? Well, here we had resistance. Here we had support, beautiful bounce on a wick, beautiful bounce on a wick, beautiful bounce on a close. And so this has been a key level. So $418, again, if we do get that entry that we're looking for on a retracement bounce off the cloud, I'd be looking at 420 or 418.40 as your first take profit level on BitTensor. If you want to be ultra conservative, and we do get that bounce back, you can take some profit at 350. We'll call it 360. But if things continue the way they are, and we're seeing prices continue with momentum on this move to the upside, then it might be kind of dumb to take profits too early and look for that 418.4 level for BitTensor. We take a look. Let me drop this below. We'll take a look at Market Cipher B. We'll cycle through some of the time frames, see if we're seeing anything. Daily, we want to see this. We want to see money flow start to go up again and turn green on the daily. We can go to the half day. Half day, we did get a bullish crossover on the VWAP, which is good. And okay, so you guys know what I like to do when I use indicators. I do these in real time. Is I like to back test. So this was a beautiful, almost a picture perfect, right? There's your anchor wave, crosses below our 60 with a green dot. There's our trigger wave, much smaller with a green dot. Let's take a look at what price did. So if you got an entry, here after the green dot, you would have entered on this candle. You would have entered on this candle from open to wick high. If you're the perfect trader, that's a 42% gain, my friends. Or if you exited before the first small pullback, that's a 28% drawdown. So I am constantly fishing and looking for this exact one setup. It is so accurate. It is so accurate. Now, nothing is 100%, but this thing is pretty damn close. I have yet to lose a trade using this very simple strategy with Market Cipher B. And so if you don't have Market Cipher B and you want to get it, there is a link in the description of the video. We do get a little bit of a kickback. Shout out to Crypto Face. What a great product you put together, man. Dude's a trading legend. Dude's also a signals and a freaking indicator legend. So shout out to him. But again, if you're new to trading and you want to keep it super simple, buy Market Cipher package, throw on Market Cipher B. You don't got to change any of the settings and just cycle through the time frames. Okay, do I see anchor? Oh, there's one on the 21 hour. Okay. You can also set alerts on these too. You can go in here, create a custom alert when you get a green dot on Market Cipher B and just go to the chart and see, okay, was that an anchor wave green dot? Was that a trigger wave green dot? Or was that a no wave green dot? And you can just consistently make money doing that. And so, yeah. But staying on Tau, just kind of cycling through the lower time frames on Market Cipher B. Nothing on the 3 hour. We want to see this VWAP get cross above our midline. Now, this is a pretty deep expansion of our VWAP. We're at negative 14 right now. So we want to see that thing push up. So lower time frames with Market Cipher B are looking bearish for BitTensor, but the higher time frames, again, we want to see that breakout of our cloud to the upside. With that being said, I'm just going to take a peek at the chat. If you're new here, welcome. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for the ETH trade yesterday. I got in roughly when you got in. Still in. Dude, fuck yes, man. Cementimo, shout out to you, brother. What is he talking about? We so for our Discord people, for our VVIP trading group, I did post my ETH trade, and I cashed in a little early, as I usually do. But Cemenimo, man, that's 280%. Let's go, bro. That's awesome, man. Happy to hear that. Okay. If there's anything you'd like me to take a look at, please let me know, whether it's from a fundamental or technical standpoint. I'm just taking a peek at the chat here. ES said tau to zero. Get out of my chat, dude. Tau to zero. You're a funny guy. I bought 15 tau at 252 just because David loves it. Billy, that's why you're my boy. Billy said he bought tau at $252 because David loves it. Billy, I expect a nice cup of coffee when you come to Vegas for the Bitcoin conference. By the way, if you guys are going to be in Vegas for the Bitcoin conference, put a 1 in the chat. We're excited to have some people come in here, link up with us, and maybe spend some time at our studio, hang out, catch a show live. And so we're gearing up for that conference. We're excited. Also, if you don't have your tickets yet, make sure to get your tickets because they go up, I believe, every single week. All right, let's go back to the chart, or let's go back to CoinMarketCap here. All right, so these are the 7 days, the biggest gainers. Okay, what I want to do is I want to add biggest gainers. No, I don't want to do that. I want to go to I wanted to go to the biggest losers on the 7 days. So you have movement going down. Now, Story IP, this is an interesting one. This was a token that came out. They're looking to tokenize intellectual property, and this thing was on a absolute tear. You can see over the last 1 year, it came out at $1.40 and it ran to like $7-8. But since that what's the guy's last name that founded Twitter? Jack Dorsey. Since his post about make IP free, this thing has just completely tanked. You look back to the middle of March when it had its peak of around, $6.30. It's currently 50%. It's a 50% drawdown. Still up on the year though, 21%. So this was a project that a lot of people were bullish on, and they wanted to ape in at $6-7. And I told people, I was like, look, I've seen the story unfold one too many times. And you're gonna see big drawdowns, especially as these token unlocks for these founders come to light. So, anyways, that's IP. So hopefully you guys didn't buy the top and listen. But I want to revisit this XRP chart. You know, we had Magic look at it this morning. I love Magic's analysis because he does a lot of high time frame support and resistance. And as he says, he's not really a pattern trader, but I am a pattern trader. And so the pattern here that we've had our eye on XRP was this inverse head and shoulders pattern. And this is what we wanted. We wanted to break out of the neckline. And we want this retest. Now, I can't tell you how many times we see patterns break out and we don't get a retest and we just miss those trades, right? You could have very well entered here at $2.08 and you'd be in the profit right now. But I've gotten burned more times than I made money doing that. And so my strategy is wait for the retest at the neckline, which currently sits anywhere between, we'll call it $2.10 and $2.08.5. If we get that pullback, I am interested in an XRP long. And so that's something to keep an eye on, my friends. Again, not something that I want to enter now. And expect a cool down across the board, not just in XRP, but across all markets. We can get an entry here on XRP at around $2.10. I am interested in a long. If this thing ends up becoming invalidated, we're looking for $1.97, which at the rate the markets are going now, we may never get a sub $2 XRP again. We pull up market cipher B, green dot here, expanding momentum waves. Money flow is still deep in the red though. We want to see that come up. And this, if that wave, did that wave? I'm trying to see if that wave came down. It did not. That would have been a great entry, anchor trigger wave entry as well. And if we take on, let's hide that. Let's go in here. Let's throw on our cloud. So as you can see, my friends, on the daily, XRP technically is still in a downtrend, okay? According to our cloud. This 9-day moving average should start pointing up again, but the big price to break here, to break this downtrend, is going to be anywhere between, drop a couple flags, depending on where, right? If this candle continues, you're looking at $2.41. If we start seeing another push above, closer to, what's the date? April 24th. So yeah, in about 2 days, you're looking at 228 and dropping, right? 220. If we zoom out and we say, okay, look, the end of April 30th, you're looking at $2.20. So expect a little sideways price action from XRP, or again, we can get that bounce off of that neckline, off a pullback, and we enter into a long trade and push that thing up and look to exit before we pierce the cloud, at least partially on our trades. And so that is something that I'll be keeping my eye on. And if we do enter the trade, we'll have a fresh chart with some fresh metrics and numbers from this cloud, and we can even work our way down to the 21-hour or the 12-hour. 12-hour, we did get a bullish break above. This was a failed retest on the 12-hour. You see, we pierced, came back down. So we want to see something similar again, but this time we don't want to see price close back into the cloud. We want to see price close above the cloud. If we can get down on the 12-hour, we're looking good. Market cipher B on the 12-hour. Let's see, was this anchor trigger? Let's see what price did. So here's an example of anchor trigger wave and why you shouldn't just jump the gun and enter a long or a short based off of one single indicator. Is you could have looked at this and said, look, hey Dave, this is my anchor wave, this is my trigger wave, right? Okay, green dot, you enter on the green dot, you're losing money, right? You enter on the green dot here, you lost money from $2.11 to a wick low around $2.06. And so this is one thing to keep an eye on. But again, lower time frames on XRP, at least from a cloud perspective. 8-hour looks great. That's a pretty big gap. So this is 26 days looking forward. And we did just get, I believe we got a crossover. Oh, we are right there. Our baseline, our conversion line, they're identical. You see 211, 360 on the far right here. We want to see that blue cross over our red on the 8-hour. On the 4-hour, should get a retest of this 9-day moving average, which sits right around $2.12, again, on the super low time frame. And this could also set up for a potential, it's too late for that. We're looking at a potential bull flag pattern playing out here for XRP. You see this range starting to get tight on the 4-hour. Let's take a look at the 1-hour here for XRP. Let's get rid of this. Let's throw on market cipher A. Expansion of the trend to the upside on the lower time frames, although we are seeing volume start to decrease on the 1-hour. On market cipher B, VWAP is still trading below our midline. We want to see that crossover, but we are about to. We're at negative 1.2. RSI stochastics are great. Momentum waves are continuing to make higher highs. That's also great. And so is, speaking of higher highs, so is our money flow, which is also continuing to make higher highs. And so for me, from a chart standpoint, XRP looks fine. We want to wait for a trade setup. I want to wait for this daily to get a retest of our neckline on that inverse head and shoulders breakout. Nothing here on market cipher A on the daily. On the weekly, though, we can take a peek. Weekly, this trend was coming to an end. The uptrend we were in is coming to an end, but I think we're going to start seeing these moving averages expand yet again. Nothing to see on market cipher A on the weekly higher time frames, and really nothing to see on the lower time frames either, although we do want to see this money flow start to push back up again and move to the upside. RSI stochastic look fine. Not oversold, not overbought. And that is for XRP. Kind of going down the list, though, Solana is an interesting one as well. And again, if there's anything you'd like me to take a look at, please let me know. I'm just taking a peek at the chat here. RustyBot said, my Ichimoku cloud looks like chemtrails. That's funny. All right. You need to change the Norwegian cloud to the USA cloud. Yeah. Rusty, what's the name of the Ichimoku cloud you're using? It's just, here, let's. Right here, just Ichimoku cloud. That's it. It should pop up right away if you search for it. And then once you go into the settings, you can see. And I have my lagging span and my leading span off. and I just have the background plot, right? And so if you want to see what the full thing looks like, the full suite is you have your lagging span, which is your green line here, which a lot of people like to use. I used to use this a lot, but for the purpose of trading live for people watching, it can get a little crazy and hectic. Some traders leave it on there and they live stream just to make it look more complicated so people feel like they can't use it themselves. But you guys know me, I'm all about empowering people to use the same tools I use to make money the same way I make money. And you can see the borderline, the cloud. I don't like that. I think it's a much cleaner look. So if Rusty, if you do get on here, the way I have it is you're going to have all these checked, get rid of lagging span, get rid of leading span, and get rid of leading span A and B. Keep the plots background. That's what's going to give you your color. And you can change the opacity of these. I have mine set at 20% for both. That's it. Conversion line. That's pretty much it. Pretty basic. 9-day moving average, 26-day moving average, and your cloud is 26 days looking forward. So pretty simple. And again, so yeah, hope that helps you, my friend. All right. So again, anything you guys want to take a look at, let me know. If we can make 92 support and 96, here we come. Yeah, 92 is very, very key, Billy. And again, my level was 92.5, but 92, where was 92? 92 was this wick we had up here, and I'll drop another horizontal here because can never get enough horizontals. 92.5, and let's zoom out to the weekly. I believe it was on the weekly we saw. Let me get rid of this. So really this box between 91.2 and 92.5, you can see all the tests here on wicks, okay? And then ultimately we broke through this and we caught support at 80K on that big move down. That was a massive weekly candle. I think it was the biggest weekly candle we've had, 14.32%. And so this would be the key level. We get above 92.5, Billy. I agree, man. I think the structure of that changes for BTC, and we can talk about new all-time highs. And I'm telling you guys, we clear $100,000, we're getting a FOMO rally. We clear 100K, we're getting a FOMO rally up to, I don't know, 125, 126. I truly believe it. And so a lot of people saying the bull market's over. I think Rob and I have both been in the camp of the bull market's not over. And I know I'm not going to speak for Rob, but for me at least, it's always been the fundamental side of it, right? Because again, we talked about this yesterday, so I'm not going to go on about it again. But I can understand the people that look at it from a technical standpoint and say we're in a bear market. But my two-pronged approach of technicals with fundamentals and news. And so when you look at fundamentals and kind of everything that's in the pipeline, there's just no way I can subscribe to the idea that Bitcoin is in a bear market. But that was just me. So, but yeah, Billy, to your point, I agree. 92.5. We clear that, man. We stay above that for a couple days, consolidate a little bit, let things cool off. And I think 96K might just give and we go to 100. Once we're at 100, again, 125 to 126. You know what other chart I was looking at? I was looking at an AVAX chart. So this is AVAX on the daily. This is AVAX on the daily. And this was kind of a symmetrical triangle that we broke out of, right, with one small deviation. Well, actually, it wasn't a deviation. Actually, it was a deviation. We got a clean break below. We got a retest failure on a wick. And then the very next candle, we came right back. Let me hide some of these horizontals here. Let's hide you. Let's hide you. And let's hide you. Nothing personal, okay? So as you can see here, a break below, failed retest, and we came back on the next candle, broke above. And again, this is why we wait for retests of breakouts. And so, yes, Avalanche looks good, broke out of the symmetrical triangle, but we don't want to enter into a long just yet. We want to wait for that retest, which again, depending, this thing slopes down from around 1968, which is here 1963. You're looking down around 1930 to 1935. Those are the levels to keep an eye on a retest. Now, you don't want to enter into the first time price touches, so this is not something that I would want to put in a limit order on. But this is something that I would keep my eye on and maybe have an alert sitting at 1960. And once price gets down there, throw on your chart, work your lower time frames and see what price is telling you. See what volume's telling you. See what market cipher B is telling you. See what the cloud is telling you on the lower time frames. And so we made money on trades. We made money on the ETH trade, 50%. We made money on the Link trade. We made money on the, what was it, an XRP trade? I don't know. We made a lot money on a lot of trades. Now, the pump, we're starting to see a little bit of a cool off. And so now I would tell everyone, proceed with caution. We had a big rally from Bitcoin. I mean, this rally was pretty big, okay? Let me clean up the chart here a little bit. This rally was fairly big, okay? Going back to the 9th of April, not even the wick, the open, 20% rally with a little bit of a consolidation, right? Even if you remove it, the consolidation, you say, okay, when did this thing start pumping? The 10%. So for Bitcoin, that's a pretty big rally. And so I expect a cool off, and we look for the key levels of resistance that we had to enter those long, to take those long on reversals. And so the immediate obvious one to me, and I'm not saying it's going to get there, is 88,455. I would feel very confident to put in a limit order here on BTC, slightly above 88,455. Let's take this thing up to maybe 88,646. Again, not sure if it's going to get there. If you listen to my co-host Rob, he says we're never going below 80 or 90K again. I don't know about that, but what I do know is I am not touching it long just yet for BTC unless we see something on our market cipher A or market cipher B indicators. So yeah, that's what I got. Oh, the AVAX trade. Let's go back to the AVAX trade. All right, so we had a breakout again. Wait for that retest. Now, again, we're going to just cycle through this together. We're going to... We'll hide these. I got to start labeling these, by the way, these object trees, because I get lost sometimes. Okay. Let's throw on our cloud. There's a lot of altcoins that are kind of at this, at pivotal points here, right? Again, another example of a candle piercing a cloud on a high time frame. Now this one though, we don't have that twist yet. We want to see that twist back to green on the cloud. But I mean, AVAX has really been in a downtrend since the beginning of the year, since January, when that cloud twisted. This was here when that cloud twisted, right? 26 days moving back. This would have been a beautiful short. And so we want to wait for this thing to twist. We want to, again, break out above, close above, and get a retest of the top end of the cloud. If we do, AVAX is going places. It's going a lot of big places. Let's take a look at market cipher B. Now this one, money flow is actually looking very good. This one is less than 1 or less than 2 away from crossing above our midline. And so we're about to get that crossover, and that VWAP is expanding, as are the momentum waves. And so high time frame, AVAX looks pretty damn good on the daily, on the weekly. Check the 12-hour here. Nope. 6-hour. You know, this is what you want to see, right? And here's another way you can use market cipher B that I use. You want to see if you can stay in a trade. You want to see, are the momentum waves making higher highs? If they are, the trend is still strong. Once you see this thing peak and we get our first lower high on the momentum wave, that's probably a good time to look at exiting your trade. Whether you hit your stop, or whether you hit your TP levels or not, that is something that I use. And so that's another tip of the trade there. Yeah, guys, that's all I got for this show today. I want to thank every single one of you for joining me. Let me know what you guys think about the new setup. You guys like it? You guys like the stuff in the background, the lighting, everything? Let us know. And also join our Discord, get access to our trading channels. Once you're in the Discord, there's a little tab on the top that says get VVIP access. It's completely free, literally free. You just got to create an account on BuyDeFi with our link, deposit $100 for yourself to trade. That's it. And you're good to go. With that being said, guys, thank you so much again. We will see you tomorrow morning for the live show, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until then, peace.